The morning of the wedding arrived wrapped in light. Sunlight filtered gently through sheer curtains, turning the room soft and golden, as though the day itself had been rehearsing for this moment. Outside, the city stirred awake with an unusual tenderness. Cars moved slower, voices carried warmth, and even the sky seemed to lean closer, curious to witness a union everyone had been talking about for months. For Amara, the bride, the world felt suspended in a perfect pause. She sat before the mirror, her reflection framed by flowers and lace, watching as hands that were not her own transformed her into a vision she barely recognized. The makeup artist leaned in with practiced precision, brushing hope onto her eyelids, sealing joy into the corners of her smile. Every detail mattered today. Every breath felt ceremonial. "This is the happiest day of your life," someone whispered behind her. Amara smiled, believing it completely. She had loved Daniel for 3 years. 3 years of late-night conversations, shared dreams, whispered plans for the future. He had been patient, attentive, steady in ways that made her feel safe. When he proposed, it felt inevitable, like the final piece sliding into place. He was the man she had prayed for, the man she trusted with her whole heart. And today, she was becoming his wife. In the corner of the room stood her younger sister, Lena, watching quietly. Lena was radiant in her bridesmaid dress, a soft color chosen carefully to complement, never outshine. She had insisted on that herself. "This day is about you," Lena had said with a laugh when Amara suggested a bolder shade. "I just want to stand beside you." And she did, literally and figuratively. Lena had been everywhere during the wedding preparations. She handled last-minute emergencies, calmed nerves, made phone calls, and reassured relatives. When Amara's hands trembled while holding her bouquet earlier that morning, Lena was the one who squeezed them gently and said, "You're doing great. He loves you. Everything is perfect." Amara believed her. The venue bloomed with life as guests arrived. Family, friends, colleagues, neighbors. Conversations overlapped with laughter. Phones were raised, photos snapped, admiration openly shared. "Have you seen the bride? They're such a beautiful couple. You can tell this marriage will last." Daniel stood at the altar, tall and composed, his suit tailored to perfection. He smiled often, nodding at well-wishers, accepting congratulations with ease. But every now and then, so briefly it barely registered, his gaze drifted away from the crowd, toward Lena. Amara did not notice. Or perhaps she did, but her mind gently smoothed over it, the way happiness often erases rough edges before they can hurt. The ceremony began. Music swelled, soft and emotional, as Amara walked down the aisle. Every step felt unreal, like walking through a dream she never wanted to wake from. Daniel's eyes met hers, shining, and in that moment, she felt chosen, seen, secure. They exchanged vows under open skies, promises of forever, words of loyalty, declarations of love spoken before witnesses and heaven alike. When Daniel slid the ring onto her finger, his hands shook slightly. Amara thought it was nerves, love overwhelming him, nothing more. The kiss that followed drew applause, cheers, joyful tears. Lena clapped too, her smile wide, her eyes glossy with emotion. She hugged Amara tightly afterward, whispering, "I'm so proud of you." Yet, as the reception unfolded, between speeches and dancing, between laughter and music, small moments drifted through the day like quiet shadows. Daniel stepped away to answer his phone more than once, his voice low, his back turned. Lena noticed before anyone else and subtly filled the space beside Amara, distracting her with jokes and memories from childhood. At one point, during the photo session, the photographer asked for a picture of the bride with her sister. As they posed, Lena leaned in close, her voice barely above a breath. "You look so happy," she said. "I am," Amara replied instantly. For a fraction of a second, something unreadable flickered across Lena's face, gone as quickly as it appeared. Later, during the first dance, Amara rested her head against Daniel's chest, listening to his heartbeat. It was fast, uneven. "You okay?" she asked softly. "Just overwhelmed," he said, kissing her forehead. "In a good way." She smiled, satisfied. Around them, admiration flowed freely. Guests whispered about how lucky Amara was, about how thoughtful Lena was, about how perfect Daniel seemed. No one noticed the way Lena's eyes followed Daniel when he crossed the room. No one noticed how Daniel stiffened, just slightly, when Lena brushed past him. No one noticed how silence fell between them when Amara wasn't looking. The night ended with fireworks bursting across the sky, colors exploding in celebration. Amara stood between her husband and her sister, holding their hands, laughter rising from her chest. She felt surrounded by love. She felt safe. She felt certain that her life had just begun in the most beautiful way possible. She did not know that some betrayals are born quietly, not in darkness, but in the brightest light, smiling, applauding, standing close enough to touch. And as the guests departed and the lights dimmed, as Amara walked away believing she had everything, two people remained behind her smile, carrying secrets that would soon tear her world apart. Marriage did not begin with fireworks the way the wedding had ended. It began quietly. The first morning after the ceremony, Amara woke before Daniel. Sunlight crept through the curtains of their new bedroom, touching the unfamiliar walls of the apartment they had chosen together. Everything smelled new, fresh paint, unopened furniture, possibility. She lay still for a moment, listening to Daniel's breathing, slow and deep, and felt a soft rush of gratitude. This is my life now, she thought. We made it. She slipped out of bed carefully and padded into the kitchen, humming as she brewed coffee. She imagined how their mornings would look from now on. Shared routines, laughter over breakfast, small habits forming without effort. When Daniel finally joined her, dressed and already checking his phone, she smiled brightly. "Good morning, husband," she said playfully. He looked up, surprised for half a second, then smiled back. "Good morning." It was a good smile, familiar, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. She noticed, but dismissed it. The first few days passed gently. They visited family, received calls, accepted gifts, and listened to endless congratulations. Everyone wanted to see the newlyweds, to hear their plans, to witness their happiness up close. Amara basked in it, answering questions with warmth and confidence. Daniel remained polite, present, but slightly distant. He laughed when expected. He spoke when spoken to. But when the noise died down and it was just the two of them, a strange quiet settled between them. Thin, almost invisible, but persistent. "You've been quiet lately," Amara said one evening as they sat on opposite ends of the couch. "Just tired," he replied, eyes fixed on the television. "Work's been intense." She nodded. Marriage was an adjustment. Everyone said so. The late nights started soon after. At first, they seemed harmless. A call from work that stretched longer than usual. A quick errand that took hours. Daniel always had an explanation, always delivered calmly, convincingly. He never raised his voice, never snapped. He remained gentle enough to make doubt feel unreasonable. Amara told herself she was imagining things. Then Lena started visiting more often. She would stop by in the afternoons, sometimes unannounced, carrying food or offering to help organize the apartment. "You two must be exhausted," she'd say cheerfully. "New marriage, new routines. I remember how overwhelming it can be." Amara was grateful. Lena had always been thoughtful, always attentive. If anything, her presence felt comforting, familiar. Still, there were moments that unsettled her. Lena would arrive when Daniel wasn't home and linger long after he returned. She'd laugh at his jokes just a little too loudly. She'd sit a little too close. Once, Amara walked into the living room to find them deep in conversation, their voices dropping abruptly when she appeared. "What were you talking about?" Amara asked casually. "Just work stuff," Lena answered quickly. Daniel nodded in agreement. It made sense. Lena worked in a similar field. Amara shrugged it off. But the silence between her and Daniel grew heavier. He took his phone everywhere, into the bathroom, onto the balcony, even to bed. Messages came late at night, the screen lighting up the darkness between them. When Amara shifted beside him, he'd turn the phone face down without a word. One night, she reached out instinctively to touch him, and he flinched. flinched, so slightly she almost missed it. "I'm sorry," he said immediately. "I didn't mean, just tired." She pulled her hand back, smiling. "It's okay." But something inside her tightened. 2 weeks after the wedding, Amara stood in the kitchen washing dishes when Lena arrived again. Daniel wasn't home yet. Lena leaned against the counter, watching her quietly. "You okay?" Lena asked. "You seem off." Amara laughed softly. "I'm fine. Just adjusting, I guess." Lena studied her for a moment, then reached for her hand. "Marriage isn't always what it looks like from the outside. You have to be patient. Men take time to settle." Amara nodded, grateful for the reassurance. What she didn't notice was how confidently Lena said it, as though she knew more than she should. That night, Daniel came home late again. Amara waited up, sitting on the edge of the bed. "Can we talk?" she asked gently. He sighed, sitting beside her. "About what?" "I feel like you're not here," she said carefully. "Not really." He took her hands, his touch warm, familiar. "You're overthinking. I love you. Nothing has changed." His voice was calm, certain. She wanted to believe him. So she did. She buried her doubts beneath trust. She reminded herself that love required faith, that suspicion could poison even the strongest bond if given room to grow. Yet, as she lay awake beside him that night, staring at the ceiling, she realized something had shifted. The silence between them was no longer peaceful. It was waiting for a crack, waiting for a mistake, waiting for the truth to slip through. And somewhere in that silence, unseen and unheard, betrayal was learning how to breathe. The first crack did not arrive loudly. It slipped in quietly, like a hairline fracture beneath polished glass, invisible until the light hit it just right. It was a Tuesday evening when Amara found the message. Daniel had left his phone on the kitchen counter while taking a shower, something he rarely did anymore. It buzzed once, then again, the sound sharp against the hush of the apartment. Amara wasn't trying to pry. She told herself that firmly as she reached for it, only to silence the vibration. But the screen lit up before she could turn it face down. Did she suspect anything? No name, no context, just those 4 words. Amara's breath caught. Her first instinct was to rationalize. Work, she thought. It has to be work. But the words sat uneasily in her chest, refusing to soften into something harmless. Her thumb hovered over the screen. She didn't unlock the phone. She didn't read further. She simply stared, feeling a slow, unfamiliar chill creep through her body. Daniel emerged moments later, towel draped over his shoulder, relaxed. "Who was that?" she asked, keeping her voice light. He glanced at the phone, then at her. "Probably spam. Spam that asks questions." He chuckled, shaking his head. "You know how weird messages are these days." It was said so easily, too easily. She nodded, handing him the phone. "Yeah, you're right." That night, sleep didn't come. Amara lay beside him, listening to the rhythm of his breathing, replaying the message again and again. Did she suspect anything? The words echoed, sharp and deliberate, refusing to fade. The next morning, she watched him carefully. How he moved through the apartment, how he kissed her goodbye, how his eyes slid away from hers just a fraction too soon. She felt like a stranger observing someone she thought she knew intimately. Later that afternoon, Lena stopped by. She brought pastries and a bright smile, setting them neatly on the table. "I thought you might need a pick-me-up," she said. Amara studied her sister as they sat together, coffee steaming between them. Lena looked the same as always, polished, calm, affectionate. Yet now, Amara noticed things she hadn't before. The way Lena asked about Daniel before asking about her. The way she listened a little too closely. "Is everything okay with you two?" Lena asked casually. "Yes," Amara replied, too quickly. Then she paused. "Why do you ask?" Lena shrugged. "You've just seemed quieter." Amara hesitated. She wanted to confide. Lena was her sister, her closest ally. If something felt wrong, surely Lena would help her see clearly. "I found a message on his phone," Amara said finally. "Nothing concrete, just strange." Lena leaned forward immediately. "Amara, don't do this to yourself." "Do what?" "Look for problems where there aren't any," Lena said gently. "Daniel adores you. You just got married. Men can be careless with their phones, that's all." Her words were soothing, familiar, comforting, but they carried an undertone Amara couldn't quite place, something rehearsed. That evening, Amara decided to confront Daniel, softly. They sat at the dining table, dinner untouched. "I need to ask you something," she said. He stiffened almost imperceptibly. "Okay. That message yesterday, it bothered me." He sighed, rubbing his temples. "Amara, we talked about this." "You brushed it off," she said quietly. "I just want honesty." He met her gaze then, his expression warm, wounded. "You don't trust me?" The question landed heavily. "I do," she said. "That's why I'm asking." He reached across the table, taking her hands. "You're my wife. I would never hurt you. You're letting anxiety ruin what we just started." Shame rose in her chest. "I'm sorry," she whispered. He smiled gently, victorious without appearing so. "It's okay. We'll be fine." Later that night, Amara overheard something she wasn't meant to hear. Daniel was on the balcony, his voice low. She stood just inside the sliding door, frozen. "No, not now," he murmured. "She's right here." A pause. "I said be careful." Her heart pounded. When he came back inside, he smiled as though nothing had happened. The next day, Lena texted her, "Don't overthink. Trust your marriage." Amara stared at the screen for a long time. The words felt heavy now, not supportive, but controlling, like hands gently pressing her doubts back down, refusing to let them breathe. She began to question herself. Am I imagining this? Am I being insecure? Why does everyone else seem so sure? That was the most dangerous part. Not the lies, not the secrecy, but the way her reality began to blur. The way truth felt negotiable. The way her instincts were slowly being taught to stay quiet. The bond between the sisters shifted that week. Conversations felt guarded. Silences stretched longer. Lena's reassurances began to feel less like comfort and more like correction. And somewhere between doubt and denial, Amara realized something terrifying. She was no longer sure who was protecting her, and who was protecting the lie. The crack had formed. It was thin, fragile, but it was there, and it was growing. The truth did not arrive with warning. It arrived on an ordinary afternoon, quiet, unremarkable, the kind of day that slips by unnoticed until it splits your life cleanly in two. Amara left work early. Her head had been aching all day, a dull pressure behind her eyes that refused to ease. She thought a warm shower and a few hours of rest might help. She didn't text Daniel. There was no reason to. He was supposed to be at work until evening. Lena had mentioned she'd be busy that day too. The drive home felt strangely slow. Traffic crawled. The sky hung low and colorless, neither bright nor dark. When Amara finally pulled into the driveway, the house looked the same as always, still, quiet, unassuming. Too quiet. She noticed it immediately. Daniel's car was parked outside. Her first thought was relief. Maybe he came home early too, she reasoned. Maybe today is different. She smiled faintly as she unlocked the door. The house greeted her with silence. No television, no music, no voices. Only the soft hum of electricity and the distant ticking of the wall clock. She stepped inside, closing the door behind her carefully, almost instinctively. "Daniel?" she called. No answer. She moved farther into the house, her heels clicking softly against the floor. Something felt wrong, not sharp enough to name, but heavy enough to slow her steps. Her heart began to beat faster, each thud louder than the last. Then she heard it. A sound, muffled, indistinct. A breath? A whisper? It came from the bedroom. Amara stopped. The hallway stretched before her, longer than it had ever felt. At the end of it, the bedroom door stood slightly ajar. Just a sliver. Just enough. Her feet moved before her mind could catch up. Each step felt unreal, like walking underwater. She reached the door slowly, her hand trembling as she pushed it open. Time collapsed. Daniel was there. So was Lena. For a moment, Amara didn't understand what she was seeing. Her brain tried desperately to rearrange the image into something harmless, something explainable. But the truth refused to bend. They were too close, too intimate. Lena's hands rested where they had no right to be. Daniel's posture was unmistakable, unguarded, familiar, guilty in the way only intimacy makes a person. The air left Amara's lungs. Neither of them noticed her at first. They were caught in a world that had no room for her, one they had clearly been visiting for some time. Then Lena looked up. Their eyes met. The color drained from Lena's face. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Daniel turned, following Lena's gaze, and froze. "Amara," he whispered. Her name sounded wrong in his mouth. She couldn't speak, couldn't scream, couldn't cry. Her body refused to respond, as though shutting down was the only way to survive the moment. Her heart slammed violently against her ribs, each beat burning. Her sister, her husband, together, not strangers, not rumors, not suspicions, reality. The betrayal tore through her with surgical precision, not loud, not dramatic, but devastatingly complete. It wasn't just the act. It was the intimacy, the familiarity, the ease. "How long?" Amara finally asked. Her voice didn't sound like her own. Daniel stepped forward instinctively. "It's not what it looks like." "Don't," she said sharply. The words sliced through the room. Lena began to cry. "Amara, please, don't say my name," Amara whispered, her gaze never leaving Lena's face. "Not like that." She backed away slowly, the room spinning. Every memory, the wedding, the laughter, the reassurances, rewound violently in her mind, each one now poisoned. All the late nights, the whispers, the messages, the silence. It all made sense now. She turned and walked out. Neither of them followed her. The front door closed behind her with a soft, final click. Outside, the world continued as if nothing had happened. Birds chirped. A neighbor laughed somewhere down the street. Life moved on, indifferent to the destruction unfolding inside her chest. Amara reached her car and leaned against it, finally allowing the pain to surface. Her knees buckled. Her breath came in broken gasps. Her vision blurred as sobs tore out of her, raw, uncontrollable, devastating. This was not just heartbreak. This was the collapse of trust, identity, family. She had lost two people at once. And as she cried there in the open air, one truth settled heavily over her. Some betrayals don't just break your heart. They erase the person you used to be. Amara did not leave the house forever. Not that day. She drove until the road blurred, until her tears dried into a numb ache and her hands stopped shaking enough to grip the steering wheel. She parked by a quiet roadside and sat there for a long time, staring ahead without seeing anything. Shock does strange things. It does not always scream. Sometimes it goes silent, collecting pieces, demanding answers. By the time she returned home, the sun had begun to set. The house no longer felt like hers. Every step inside felt invasive, as though she were trespassing in a place where she had once belonged. The lights were on now. Voices drifted from the living room, low, tense, afraid. They had been waiting. Daniel stood when he saw her. Lena remained seated, her face blotchy, eyes red, hands clasped together as though praying. "Amara," Daniel said softly. "Please, let's talk." She removed her shoes slowly, deliberately, and placed them neatly by the door. The calmness in her movements unsettled them more than any shouting would have. "Talk," she repeated. "Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do." She walked into the living room and stood between them, not beside, not across, but directly in the center. A line drawn in flesh and breath. "How long?" she asked again. Daniel opened his mouth, closed it. It started before the wedding. The words landed like a physical blow. "Before," Amara echoed. "How far before?" Lena let out a quiet sob. Daniel avoided Amara's eyes. "A few months. Months. The wedding dress fittings. The planning. The vows. All of it had happened alongside this. You stood next to me," Amara said, turning slowly to Lena. "You helped me choose my dress. You told me how lucky I was." "I didn't plan for it," Lena cried. "It just happened. I tried to stop it." Amara laughed then, a short, hollow sound that startled even her. "You tried to stop it?" Her voice hardened. "You didn't stop it. You continued it. You smiled in my face and told me to trust my marriage." Lena covered her face. "I was afraid." "Afraid of what?" Amara demanded. "Losing him? Or being exposed?" Daniel stepped in. "This isn't all on her." Amara turned on him instantly. "Oh, don't worry. I haven't forgotten you." He swallowed. "I made a mistake." "No," she said firmly. "You made a choice." Over and over again. Silence fell. Then Lena spoke again, her voice trembling but edged with something sharper. "You don't understand what it's like to always be second." Amara stared at her. Second to what? To you, Lena said, tears streaming. You were always the good one, the admired one, the one everyone praised. I lived in your shadow. The words felt unreal. So you took my husband? Amara asked quietly. That was your solution? I loved him, Lena whispered. Amara felt something inside her finally snap, not into rage, but clarity. You didn't love him, she said. You loved what he represented. Validation. Winning. Proving something. Daniel tried again. Amara, please. We can fix this. Counseling. Time. I'll end it. She looked at him then, really looked. The man who had sworn loyalty to her 2 weeks ago. The man who had lied to her daily, who had allowed her to be humiliated in her own home. You didn't just betray me, she said slowly. You humiliated me. You gaslit me. You let me question my sanity. Daniel's voice broke. I never meant to hurt you. But you did, she replied. And now you don't get to decide what happens next. She turned toward the door. Amara, wait, Lena said desperately. We're sisters. Amara paused, her hand on the door handle. Yes, she said without turning back. We were. Then she walked in. That night, Amara stayed with a friend. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation, every reassurance, every moment of doubt she had swallowed. The truth hurt. But it also freed her. For the first time since the wedding, her thoughts were her own. The lies were gone. The confusion had lifted. What remained was pain, raw, heavy, undeniable, but also something else, something steady and powerful beneath it. Resolve. She did not know yet how she would rebuild her life. But she knew one thing with absolute certainty. She would not stay where love had turned into betrayal. Leaving was not dramatic. There were no shouting matches in the street, no last-minute apologies shouted through closed doors, no scenes worthy of an audience. Instead, Amara's departure unfolded quietly, one decision at a time, one breath after another. That, she would later realize, was what made it powerful. The morning after the confrontation, she returned to the house briefly. Daniel was not there. Lena was not there. The silence greeted her again, but this time it felt different, emptier, stripped of deception. She walked through each room slowly. The couch where she and Daniel had sat pretending everything was fine. The kitchen counter where his phone had buzzed with questions that weren't meant for her. The bedroom where trust had been violated in its most sacred form. She did not cry. Instead, she packed. Only essentials at first. Clothes, documents, personal items. Things that belonged solely to her. Not the us she had believed in, but the me she needed to protect. As she reached for her wedding ring, her hand hesitated. The metal felt heavier than it should have. 2 weeks old. Still shining. Still cruel in its symbolism. She placed it carefully on the dresser and walked away. The reactions came quickly. Family members called, some with concern, others with confusion, a few with judgment thinly disguised as advice. Marriage is not easy. Forgiveness is important. Think about how this looks. She listened. She thanked them. She did not argue. But she did not return. Daniel tried to. Messages at first, long, emotional, apologetic. He took responsibility, then subtly shifted it. He blamed temptation, loneliness, circumstances. She didn't respond. Then came the calls, the voicemails, the promises to change. She deleted them all. Lena reached out once. I miss you. I hate how things ended. Amara stared at the message for a long time before blocking the number. Some doors, once closed, must stay that way. The hardest part was the loneliness. Not being alone, but being separate. Friends didn't know what to say. Some avoided the topic entirely. Others asked too many questions. Public spaces felt uncomfortable. People whispered. They always did. She felt exposed, judged, reduced to a story people consumed without understanding its weight. But slowly, quietly, she began to reclaim herself. She returned to old habits she had neglected. Morning walks, journaling, silence without guilt. She sat with her pain instead of running from it, learning its shape, its lessons. There were nights when the grief overwhelmed her, when memories attacked without warning, when the loss of what could have been hurt more than what actually was. And still, she did not go back. One evening, as she sat alone watching the sky darken, a realization settled gently over her. Walking away was not weakness. It was self-respect. She was not abandoning love. She was choosing dignity over denial, truth over comfort, herself over betrayal. The woman she was becoming was quieter, stronger, less willing to shrink for the sake of peace that wasn't real. The pain did not vanish, but it transformed. It sharpened her boundaries, clarified her values, redefined what love would mean next time. And for the first time since the wedding, Amara felt something that resembled hope, not the naive kind she had once carried, but a deeper, steadier one. The kind born from survival. Time did not heal Amara. It refined her. Months passed, not in a blur, but in deliberate steps. Each day carried its own weight, its own small victories and quiet losses. Healing was not linear. Some mornings, she woke feeling light, almost whole. Other nights, memories returned uninvited, pressing against her chest like unfinished conversations. But she no longer ran from them. She learned how to live alongside what had happened, without letting it define her. Amara moved into a smaller apartment, one filled with light and calm. She chose it herself. No compromises, no shared decisions. The space felt honest. Every object inside it belonged to her present, not a future that had never truly existed. She reconnected with herself in ways she hadn't realized she had lost. She took classes she'd always postponed, traveled alone for the first time, sat in cafes with no urgency, no one waiting, no expectations pressing against her ribs. People noticed the change. "You seem different," a friend said one afternoon. "I am," Amara replied simply. The world, too, began to respond differently. Without her intervention, consequences found their way to those who had caused her pain. Daniel's reputation fractured as the truth emerged. Trust, once broken, proved difficult to repair. Relationships built on secrecy rarely survived exposure. Lena drifted away from family gatherings. Whispers followed her now, the same whispers that had once followed Amara. She did not celebrate their downfall. She felt no satisfaction in their discomfort. That chapter no longer belonged to her. One evening, Amara found herself standing in front of a mirror, studying her reflection. The woman staring back looked familiar, but stronger. Her eyes held clarity. Her posture carried certainty. She smiled, not because everything had been perfect, but because she had endured. Betrayal had taken much from her, but it had also given her something invaluable: discernment. She no longer ignored her instincts. She no longer mistook silence for peace or familiarity for loyalty. She had learned that love should not cost self-respect. As the sun set beyond her window, casting the room in warm gold, Amara closed her eyes and breathed deeply. She was no longer the woman who had been betrayed. She was the woman who had survived and chosen herself. And that choice, she knew, would guide every beginning still to come. The end.